Welcome back. Today, we're taking an incredibly visual journey through one of the absolute most fascinating stories on Earth. We're talking about the breathtaking progression of the entire plant kingdom.
Now, you might be wondering, what actually connects a tiny microscopic algae to a massive, towering redwood tree? It's a huge evolutionary gap, right? I mean, how did life go from simple green cells just floating around in ancient waters to the incredibly complex forests we see today?
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, the plant kingdom ladder. Second, the amphibians, liverworts versus mosses. Third, the first vascular plants, pteridophytes. Fourth, the seed bearers. Fifth, flowers, fruits, and angiosperms. And finally, number 6, testing your NCRT knowledge. Okay, let's dive right into this. Over millions of years, plants took exact, non-negotiable steps to truly conquer dry land. And every single step up this evolutionary ladder represents a major, game-changing biological upgrade in survival technology.
Section 1. The Plant Kingdom Ladder, starting in the water.
So at this foundational level, we have algae. They have a very basic, thalloid structure. That means absolutely no true roots, stems, or leaves, and they don't even form embryos. They're exclusively water-dependent. We primarily separate them into 3 major classes based on their distinct color pigments: Chlorophyceae, the green algae; Phaeophyceae, the brown algae; and Rhodophyceae, the red algae.
Section 2. Amphibians, liverworts versus mosses.
This brings us to bryophytes, famously known as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Now, why that specific phrase? Well, it's a really crucial metaphor. They can physically live on damp soil, sure, but they absolutely require water. Why? Because their motile male gametes literally need to swim to the female to achieve sexual reproduction. It's a total deal breaker for them without water. And that beautifully illustrates our next major concept. Bryophytes are the very first plants to ever form an embryo. This is a massive milestone in the evolutionary timeline. It forever separates them from the simple algae we were just talking about, officially establishing them as non-vascular terrestrial cryptogams.
If we break down the structural comparison within the bryophytes themselves, mosses actually represent a slightly more advanced, upright architecture compared to the flat, lobed phallus of the liverworts. Mosses feature multicellular rhizoids, slower seta growth, and they even have stomata in their sporophyte stage, which really hints at the incredible complexity that's still to come.
To really cement those visual differences, here are the heavy hitters. These are highly tested, specific NCERT plant examples that you absolutely need to remember. We've got Marchantia and Riccia for liverworts, going up against Polytrichum and Sphagnum for the mosses. Keep those in your back pocket.
Section 3. First vascular plants, pteridophytes.
So the crucial point here is vascular tissue. We're talking xylem and phloem. This is literally the ultimate architectural upgrade for surviving on land. It is an internal plumbing system that suddenly allowed plants to pull water up from the soil and grow so much taller than they ever could before.
But wait, here is the wild part. Despite having this incredibly complex plumbing system, these terrestrial pioneers still do not have seeds. No way. They actually still rely on primitive spore reproduction, whether homosporous or heterosporous. They drop spores that grow into a tiny, completely free-living gametophyte stage called a prothallus.
Section 4. The seed bearers. Enter the gymnosperms. The name literally translates to naked seed, and that's because their seeds are not enclosed inside any sort of ovary wall. They remain totally exposed both before and after fertilization. Instead, these softwood evergreen giants, think of your towering pine trees, rely heavily on the wind to blow pollen directly into those exposed unisexual cones.
Section 5. Flowers, fruits, and angiosperms.
Building on that, if we look at this comparative picture, we see exactly why angiosperms dominate today. It's because they developed an enclosed ovary, which later becomes a protective fruit, and they develop flowers to actively attract pollinators. Plus, they utilize this unique process of double fertilization to create triploid tissue to expertly nourish their seeds compared to the haploid tissue in gymnosperms. Honestly, it's just a masterpiece of biological engineering.
Section 6. Testing your NCERT knowledge.
All right, pulling directly from the incredibly accurate NCERT exemplar pages, let's focus on question number 4 here.
The text asks us to identify a plant with a thallus level of organization, rhizoids, and motile male gametes that strictly needs water to complete its life cycle.
The answer, of course, is bryophytes. The logic just perfectly snaps together here. Think about it. Phallus organization, plus that absolute need for water for their motile gametes, points directly back to our earlier metaphor. They are the true amphibians of the plant kingdom.
Moving over to the long answer section of the NCRT text, check out question number 6. It poses a really fascinating scenario. It asks how heterosporous pteridophytes are a precursor to the seed habit. Well, producing two different types of spores, microspores and megaspores, was the critical bridge between that old fern-like reproduction and the advanced seeds of gymnosperms. It literally unlocked the rest of the evolutionary timeline.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We have traced the journey from microscopic, single-celled algae all the way up the ladder to complex fruit-bearing angiosperms. But as we know, evolution never actually stops. So, as our Earth's climate continues to drastically change, what do you think will be the next great evolutionary leap for the plant kingdom? Seriously, think about it. Keep learning, stay